Hey guys, what's up? This is Mel, and I'm here to talk about the originals, episode 318, titled The Devil Comes Here and Sighs, which premiered Friday, April 15, 2016 on the CW. Guys, what an episode this one's. Oh my gosh. But let's get right into it. 10-minute clock. Hold on. Alright, so what is something new that we learned in this episode? So basically we are dealing with two story arcs. Yeah, first one deals with Lucian and Aurora, and the second one deals with Cole and the ancestors. So for the first storyline, we see Lucian pretty much proposing to Aurora the idea of them having eternity together as these new superior beings, and he shows her the blood potion serum thing. He uses the fact that he killed Finn with his bite as proof that they can defeat the Michaelsons together, and Aurora only agrees if they can somehow either free Tristan or from his containment, or free Tristan from his pain by killing Elijah. So Lucian's on board with getting Tristan back, and on the other side we see the Michaelsons try to figure out a way to stop this new version of Lucian. We see Freya looking over imposing sigils that she could possibly use. We see Klaus taking charge and charging right in. He actually tries to take on Lucian during the jazz festival in the streets of the city, using that as a cover, but Lucian kicks his butt like crazy. Klaus is like all bloody, and Lucian appears as if he's untouched, and unfortunately Papa Tunde's knife that Klaus brought with him is used against him, and he is caught by Lucian, and he's brought back to the penthouse where he is left to deal with Aurora, and he sees her take the serum, or I'm going to call it the either the superior serum or the beast serum. He sees her take it, so now it's only a matter of time for her to kill herself or to die so that she can basically activate it and get reborn into this superior enhanced being thing. So then in regards to Klaus, we see Haley and Camille team up together as they try to rescue him, and in the end they don't kill Aurora because of the fact that she took this serum, but they managed to sedate her, which was a good call for them that they had that backup plan. Meanwhile, Lucian is out trying to get Tristan for Aurora, and he deals with Elijah and Freya. Freya manages to use a sigil to trap Lucian and to kind of torture him from the inside for a bit, only he breaks out, and so Elijah calls in the members of the Strix. Lucian takes them all on without a problem. Elijah gets tossed to the side. Lucian doesn't lay a hand on Freya, but he does. He seems impressed by her magical abilities, or what lengths she'll go to, but eventually Elijah and Freya manage to escape before Lucian can do any damage or any more damage on them. So there's that regard. Lucian didn't get Tristan like he wanted, and Aurora didn't really get to torture Klaus like she wanted. Let me check something. Yeah, alright. So moving on to story number 2, we see basically Davina, Vincent, and Marcel trying to work together to help Cole. So at first, Davina brings Cole to the Algiers safe house, where no magic can penetrate. So he gets temporary relief within the safe house walls. Only that is slowly breaking down because the ancestors are breaking through all the charms that make the safe house magic free. So as Cole's trying to fight that and Marcel's intercepting any of Cole's attempts, Davina and Vincent, they channel each other to stop the ancestor's spell that is trying to break through the safe house, and they manage to temporarily kick them off the trail, I guess you can say. We also saw Vincent trying to talk with the ancestors board for that, but instead he gets himself kicked out as regent, and Van Nguyen is set as the new regent because he agrees with the ancestors' deals with Lucian, and he won't stop the ancestors from eliminating the Michaelsons while Vincent has been trying to broker peace. So if you remember Van Nguyen is the son of one of the witches of the Nine Covens that Davina had ordered a hit on, which basically Haley killed earlier on in the season. So there's that. So with that said, Marcel tells Cole to leave New Orleans until they could figure out if they can cure him. Cole hesitates, but he eventually agrees to leave New Orleans to escape all the heightened bloodlust that they're forcing down on him. Now, the moment he crosses New Orleans, the town border, he finds immediate relief. He's not feeling that bloodlust anymore. However, he starts to desiccate instead. So now he's forced to rush back within the town borders so that he doesn't die again or doesn't desiccate. But now all that bloodlust is back after him. So he can't really escape. The guy can't win. So other things that happened outside of the two storylines, during Klaus's capture in Aurora's presence, Lucien had a camera filming them the whole time. So Lucien actually heard Aurora confessing to Klaus that she thought Lucien was just an errand boy to her, that she did not return the affections that he has for her. So at least the wool over his eyes on her is gone now for that. And also we see at the end of the episode that Lucien actually manages to attack Camille, and he bites her with his new toxic bite. And things aren't looking good for her now because of that. So what was the most shocking moment of the episode? It definitely has to be that Lucien bit Camille. I mean, at first we found out that she had one of her neighbors sign the lease to her apartment so that it's vampire proof and everything like that, which was clever, and even Klaus commended her on that. But the way Lucien had deducted just who she had compelled to sign the lease over, and then just how he managed to find them and then kill them so that he can gain access again, was pretty clever. So she didn't see it coming whatsoever. It kind of reminded me of when Elijah kind of pulled the same thing with the Guerrero wolves in the season 2 premiere. So it was kind of like that, though I wasn't joyful like I was when Elijah did it. I was fearful when Lucien did it, so there's that. Moving on to top 3 favorite moments. First one has to be Haley and Camille having more to their rescue plan than just going in with guns blazing, with just their fist to rely on, and that measly knife that Camille had. Although I thought that the knife that she had was one of her dark artifacts. The fact that it wasn't was kind of surprising, and the fact that it was some measly little kitchen knife thing was like, really? But I'm glad that they actually went in. They brought the sedative that they brought with them. Like, I was wondering when that nod to the pharmacy idea was going to come back into play, so I really like that. And I'm wondering if it was a regular sedative and they just upped the dosage, or if it actually had to deal with if the drug was actually anything to counteract with whatever mental issues that Aurora has going on, that Klaus brought up in this episode as well. And also, Aurora did tell Camille back in 308 that she has been diagnosed with bipolar, I think. Not sure. I'm just going off of what I remember in the episode, so I do apologize if I get things wrong. But I did like the fact that they did have a plan B already before they enacted plan A. And also another little favorite off of that was Klaus's behavior throughout the whole thing. Throughout the whole fight between Haley, Camille, and Aurora, he was on edge. You could see him really tight in his reins and how he was struggling to stay in place. Like, he wanted to fight and get out of them so that he can help, but it wasn't letting him. So the moment that Aurora was down for the count and Haley and Camille were fine, you see Klaus sagging in his restraints out of relief, and then he's just looking to Camille, and I swear there's like this proud look in his eyes with a slow smirk going out on his face, kind of like that "I knew you could do it" type thing. So I really like that for sure. Another favorite moment definitely is Lucien getting the incriminating confession out of Aurora through the security footage. I really like that he got that. It definitely opened his eyes, hopefully, to Aurora, and and I hope that splits up that duo there for sure. Another favorite moment was the fact that Cole did not want to leave Davina, and yet he did so. There's the timer. He did so because it would mean saving her from him. The thing I don't like about that, though, is the fact that him leaving without telling her was him taking the choice away from her, and I usually don't like that type of thing. But I did admire the fact that he did it to save her. It just would have been nice if he talked to her about it, or at least called her on his way out on the drive out of the city. Just a little heads up, because the way she found out was just, it was cruel for sure. So top 3 peeve moments, it's kind of connecting to what I just said. The fact that Cole had to be forced out of town, although because I was irritated by that, because that means if Cole's leaving town, there's a chance that we might not see him again until he's brought back to town. But then I like the fact that he actually can't leave town, because that means we get more screen time of him, so that's kind of great. So it's kind of a mixed up there, or a mixed emotion thing there. Another peeved moment for me has to be that Aurora cannot be killed now because she has that stupid serum inside of her. Because if we kill her, that means we activate it. So it's like, damn it. Another peeved moment is the fact that Van Nugen, probably butchered it, sorry, is the new regent. I liked Vincent as the regent. The fact that some punk-ass kid is now the regent is just irritating, because he's just going to make things worse, for sure. There's going to be like bloodshed that he is not prepared to have on his end, for sure. So what moment will I remember most as I look back at the episode? The fact that Klaus got beaten by Lucian in a fist fight. I mean, really, I never expected Klaus to be completely beaten the way he did and then have Lucian looking spotless. It's just like, oh, come on, no. So moving on, random questions. First one, are the ancestors making it so that Cole can't leave New Orleans? Or is it because of that particular resurrection spell used on him, which is forcing him to stay within New Orleans because the spell links him to the ground there? Because I'm wondering if it's the ancestors that's keeping him within the city limits, just so that they still have an influence over him, or if it's the spell itself that's keeping him within the city limits. Like, if the spell wasn't tampered by the ancestors at all, and they performed it on him, would he still be able to leave town, or would he still be forced in the city limits of where he was resurrected? There's that. Also, this episode actually, last week I ran the question of how the ancestors had influence in Mystic Falls when their power is only within New Orleans, and this episode actually proved my question, because when Cole left the New Orleans city limits, when he left, the ancestors influence over him in regards to his bloodlust, it didn't affect him anymore. So, which now begs the question is, how did the ancestors influence Vincent in Mystic Falls? When in this episode it reinforced the fact that their power is only within New Orleans. Then again, the whole desiccation thing comes into play. So I'm really confused when it comes to the ancestors. I really need concrete answers of what they can and can't do, because what we learned in season 1 about them is contradicting to what they're doing now in season 3. I hope that made sense. But next question, did Lucian kill all the Strix or just the members that showed up to the fight? I mean, I know there was a lot of Strix members in that fight, but I can't imagine that they were all there, if you catch my drift. Next question, is it possible for the serum to be worked out of Aurora's system, like vampire blood can work its way out of a human? Like, you know when you feed vampire blood to a human, they only have a certain amount of time before that blood leaves their system. Is the serum going to work that way with Aurora, or is that serum permanently in her system until she dies and activates it? I hope that it can be worked out through the system. That means the Michaelsons have a time frame of how long they have access to that serum to reverse engineer it. and then once it's out of her system, then they can easily kill her. But if it's going to always remain in there, like kind of how the cure would remain in a vampire until it's sucked out of them, then we got another problem right there. What do you guys think about that when it comes to the superior serum thing going on? And lastly, moving on to predictions, based off the promo for 319, we actually don't, the episode doesn't actually return the next week. It's 2 weeks from now. So April 29th, 2016 is when 319 returns. And it shows Camille professing her love to Klaus during her final moments, since she's dealing with Lucian's toxic werewolf bite, while Klaus is determined to save her from that bite. Initially, while I am a Klaus and Camille fan, not so much since she became a vampire, and this promo in itself just gave me a very bad cliched vibe. Like, why is it always, it's like, if you're gonna have your final moments with someone, that's the moment to confess, instead of moments before when you could have actually explored that relationship. But now, if something were to happen to that person in their last moments, you're leaving the other person with what if questions and all that. So yeah, I'm a little annoyed, but I understand how that would ramp up all the Klaus and Camille shippers, which I used to be when she was human. So there's that. Based off the synopsis, though, it appears that everyone is going to race against the clock to save Camille, as Klaus keeps a close eye on her. It looks like Davina might learn some heartbreaking news that will change her future with Cole, and I think she learns that from Lucian. And overall predictions, though, I have a bad feeling that if Cole cannot be cured from the ancestors' influence, then it might be Davina that might have to give him a mercy killing. I really hope that's not the case, but I have a really bad feeling that it might be that. Also, in regards to Camille's fate, she either A, dies, which would put Klaus into a murderous rampage against Lucian, or B, she lives, but it's a very close call in saving her, as she has some sort of side effects due to the new venom strain she was exposed to through Lucian's bite. Maybe she'll react differently than how Finn reacted, since he was an original vampire. Maybe they have more time because she's a newborn. So we'll have to wait and see about that. Overall, I hope that that if there is a cure to Lucian's new strain toxic bite, then it lies within the history behind the 7 original werewolf bloodlines, and I hope we do learn more about that, especially which one Klaus descends from. And based off the prophecy stats, like I said, nothing's changed, but I really want to know if Cole and Finn count as possible Michelsons that it could be referring to. Because like I said, when it was initially made, only Rebecca, Klaus, and Elijah fit the profile. But since Finn and Cole have returned, could they now be applied to the prophecy? Because if that's the case, then Finn pretty much covered being taken out by a foe through Lucian. So if what I fear is Cole getting a mercy killing, he could qualify for qualify for friend if it's Davina. So yeah. So what do you guys think about the episode? What do you guys think about my own questions and theories? What about your own? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear about it. Also, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and check out my other videos if you haven't done so already. If you want a more detailed recap of the episode, check out my live journal entry. The link for that is down below. It's more of a play-by-play as I watch the episode for the first time with my in-moment thoughts on what was happening. A little behind on posting that. I just have to reformat a few things, but then it will be made public. But also, if you want more news about the originals, whether it's promos, sneak peeks, web clips, quotes, GIFs, anything like that, check out my Tumblr page. The link for that is down below. One specifically for this episode, and then one that will lead you to the master list of all the tags related to the originals and to the Vampire Diaries, even since it's in the same universe. So check that out. Follow me there if you like what I post, or reblog I should say, or if I reblog other shows that you follow as well. And that's about it. So thank you guys for watching. I truly appreciate it. Thank you for your patience. I'm almost caught up in regards to videos, and then I'm going to move on to catching up on Tumblr. So stay tuned with me, guys. I truly appreciate it. And yeah, I hope you come back in 2 weeks, April 29th, to hear what I have to say about this. I guess we'll call it the Camille focused episode, maybe, or the race to save Camille. I'll just leave it at that. Tune in on the 29th to see what I have to say about that episode. But until then, this is Mel. Wish you a great day, great week, wherever you are. Bye for now.